Ready to go back to 1993?
Oh, I don't think I like 93.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to Full Record Jacket with Phil and Ben. And in this particular edition, we are indeed in the year 1993. For all of this month, actually, we've got to listen to albums
We have, yes.
from that decade and decide what our favourite three are at the end of the month. So, have you got any listings, Ben? And have you actually listened to any albums of 1993?
I've listened to 3 this week, Philster. I started off the week with a little bit of Curtis Mayfield, Jimi Hendrix inspired, with a sprinkling of Prince, Lenny Kravitz, and Are You Gonna Go My Way? Released March the 9th, 1993.
Did you go his way?
I did go his way. I listened to it in the gym, and then I listened to it in the bath, and I enjoyed it in both settings. It's
okay. Nice to know that you enjoy Lenny Kravitz in the bath.
Yeah. There's something about Lenny Kravitz I quite enjoy. I don't know what it is, but do you know when you sort of like somebody, but you don't know why you like them, but there's just something about them that.
Well,
and he's a very handsome man as well.
When Lenny Kravitz started, he was kind of seen as a bit of a kind of a throwback artist in a way, because he was very into using 60s equipment, wasn't he? Even, I'm talking about the recording equipment as well as and producing his own records and playing the instruments. And he was very much, Jimi Hendrix, obviously big influence on him, all the 60s rock and stuff and the funk. I think the thing is he's just really into his music, isn't he? Maybe is it just that his enthusiasm comes across?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
he's not really a groundbreaking artist. He kind of
no. That's what I was going to say.
You could say he's derivative, but he does it well.
Yeah, he's not reinventing the wheel by any stretch of the imagination. And like I said, very Hendrix E.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's that little bit of Prince in there, a little bit of Curtis Mayfield, Sly and the Family Stone, maybe a little bit of that. You can see the influences in there anyway. It's a
yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And Lenny Kravitz is one of those artists where I think, why don't I listen to him more? Because when I hear him, I'm like, oh, I really like you.
Like a bit of the Len.
I like a bit of the Len. Do you remember the band Len? There's a band in the 90s called, didn't they do Steal My Sunshine? Steal My Sunshine. Wasn't that Len?
Yeah. That was Len, was it? Okay.
I'm sure they were called Len. There was a band called Len. That might not be in the song, but I'm pretty sure it was.
It may well be.
You're looking it up.
No, I was looking at this album. This is the original. I was listening at 1993. I was listening to a bit of the. Can you work out which album this is? This is the original insert of the CD on Matador Records. There's a back of it. Front, it is.
Go on.
It is Liz Phair, Exile in Guyville. One of those female empowerment albums.
Yeah, like the Tori Amos one from the year before.
Yeah, very guitar-y. I mean, obviously Tori Amos is very piano-y. This is very guitar-y. So that's one that could be up there for me. So it's got 18 tracks on it. It's a weird one because it doesn't sound anything like...
That's a lot for an album, isn't it?
It doesn't sound anything like the Rolling Stones, but it was... Yeah. It was seen as, because it's called Exile in Guyville, an 18-track response to Exile on Main Street. But the songs are nothing like Exile on Main Street. And
they don't, not bluesy and
they don't bear any lyrical, it's not as if they are, parodying the Rolling Stones or anything. But she liked the flow of the album.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be influenced by it, but you wouldn't really know. Another one.
I've never heard it.
Another one I remember from 93. You've probably heard bits of this if you've not heard the whole thing.
Yeah.
Remember when U2 did that? Zooropa?
Was that the Zoo TV tour?
They recorded this in the middle of the tour because they went back. They kept getting on planes and going back to Dublin and doing bits of it. And of course, it also has their collaboration with Johnny Cash, the closing track, The Wanderer. But yeah, it came out of the tour. The probably the most most experimental of the U2 albums. I do like that one. I've always liked that
I've
one.
never heard it. I've never listened to it.
You must have heard Lemon.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I've
And
heard the singles probably from it, but
yeah.
I've never sort of delved deep.
It's good. You might like it.
Into it.
I know you don't mind a bit of U2, do you? So you might
I
find
don't
that.
mind U2. I'm not a U2 hater.
I talked about this album on a solo show when you were unwell last summer. Do you remember this one? Counting Crows.
Yeah, that's on my list to listen to.
August and Everything After.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything after. Those are the 1993 albums I've got.
Is that where you're up to?
That's what I'm up to.
Yeah, well, I listened to Modern Life is Rubbish by Blur.
Oh, I did do that as well.
I've listened to this.
Yeah.
Because I messaged you after I'd listened to it, didn't I?
Yeah.
And all I can say is Modern Life isn't the only thing that's rubbish, because the album was as well. I just didn't enjoy it. I just didn't like it at all.
But were you not in the mood for it? Because I
was in the bath.
I put it on and I thought, you know what, this is good. This is a good Blur album, good early Blur album.
Maybe I need to revisit it. It just sounded a bit jingly, jangly, and And I know it's written about the struggles of modern life, and I think it was written mainly in '92 while they were on tour. But and wasn't it sort of like Damon's sort of hit back at grunge because he hated grunge and he wanted to sort of rid the world of grunge. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly more towards. I mean, if anyone has not heard Modern Life is Rubbish, but you've heard Park Life, there's obviously quite a lot of similarities with some of the songs on Park Life.
Maybe because there wasn't a track. There wasn't. I think it was one of the big flaws of the album in the first place was the fact there wasn't a big track on there.
Chemical World was a hit, wasn't it? I think kind of a hit.
Yeah, but I think I don't even think that was the highest charting hit off of it. I think the highest charting single off of it only went to number 16.
Okay.
I think the album only went to 26 or something like that.
So, they weren't fully established. I mean, it was Park Life that made them, big national stars, wasn't it? Really, but they were still a cult band at that point.
Yeah, maybe if I gave it another re-listen, because normally I'm drawn to bands not so commercial albums. So I always think there's something hidden in them, but maybe it needs a second listen. But I didn't find it particularly endearing. It was a hard listen, I think.
It's early Blur, which is, there's the Ray Davies influence, and there's there's that kind of thing.
I was going to say there was definitely that sort of Kinks sort of feel to it, but not as enjoyable as the Kinks. It wasn't anything I could sort of get me gnashers into and sort of.
I thought it was good. I've not heard it in a long time, and I put it on. I thought, I couldn't remember any of the songs or many of them.
Yeah.
And I thought, I do remember bits of it, but it's good. It's a good album. I don't know it well enough to be able to say how it ranks in the Blur discography.
No. I do like the later Blur albums. Is it 13? And I love the last album. The last Blur album, Ballad of Darren, was very, very good. But this one, I don't know. I think it falls in a bit like my next album. It sounds very much of its time, if you know what I mean. Sometimes albums just sound...
What's your next one?
Well, my next one.
Yeah.
I love it when bands do this, when they can't be asked to give their album a title, so they just name it after themselves, and it's Suede's Suede album.
That's allowed with a debut, though, isn't it? That seems to be the thing.
I think could have called it Definitely Maybe. It would have been a barnstormer. So,
why didn't they call it a title? Why didn't they give it a title? I don't know. Why
I don't know, because they do. It's like I said. I think it's very much of its time. The singles from Animal Nitrate, So Young. What else was that? Metal Mickey. Was Metal Mickey?
That was on there. I think so. Yeah, that was a single, wasn't it? But that was on there.
Yeah, I don't think. Maybe because I wasn't really into Suede back then. I was more of a leather man. But I didn't enjoy it as much as Coming Up from '97. But yeah, it's a yeah, it just didn't. It was good. I enjoyed it more than the Blur album. And maybe Blur should have stuck with Andy Partridge from XTC producing Modern Life is Rubbish. Apparently, they got rid of him from. They scrapped those sessions because Alex James said it didn't sound sexy enough. Now, after listening to Modern Life is Rubbish, it's not a sexy album.
Well, it's not. No, it's not. That's not something
You know,
that I would have thought. No.
so if it wasn't sexy enough before, how unsexy was it before? Because it didn't end up being sexy. But no, I did enjoy the Suede album, and I kind of went into Suede album wanting not to dislike it because it took me a while to get into Suede because I just found them a little bit whiny. I think it more it comes into that same thing that Bob Dylan and Morrissey come into it. It takes a little while to warm to that sort of Brett Anderson's vocal, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I did the Blur album. Probably didn't enjoy it as much as the Lenny Kravitz album, but then the Lenny Kravitz album sounded like other albums before, so you kind of instantly warm to it because you're like, oh, this feels like an old pair of socks. Whereas the Suede album was something different for that time. They were the sort of kickstart Britpop. So
you probably need to listen to it a bit more to get into it.
Yeah. I think to, but I mean, I have said that during this, I will try and only listen to the albums once, and it's got to grab me. And if it grabs me, then it's in, and then I've got to make up my mind from there. So, but not to say it was a bad. Like I said, I didn't like it as. I'm not saying I didn't like. Yeah, didn't like it as much as Coming Up. But then Coming Up was a bit more commercial. But then it's a bit of a darker album, the Suede debut, and they were dark times in '93. You know, it was rubbish. I remember 1993. It just everything was just awful.
There's a lot of good albums made in '93, though.
Do you know what? There is a heck of a lot of good albums from 1993. Do you want me to take you through some?
Take us through some.
Let's go through some because I've got a list here, and they're in no particular order. It's from XFM, and it is their 20. We'll just do their 25 best albums of 1993, and we'll go from the bottom. Like I said, they're in order of release, so these aren't in any order of what they think they are. But at 25, I don't remember too much about this album. All I remember them for is Evan Dando hanging out with Oasis a lot in '94 and Mrs. Robinson, but it's Lemonheads. Come on, feel the Lemonheads.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, do you remember that? I don't think I was into that sort of. Like I said, I think '93, I was more into reggae.
Because when did they do It's a Shame About Ray?
That was from that album.
Okay, so the album's called Come On Feel the Lemonheads.
Yeah.
Okay, why do I think they had an album called It's a Shame About Ray? I don't know. Why am I getting completely confused?
Oh, no. It's a Shame About Ray was the follow-up.
That
was the album before this.
It was the album before
it's the album before, sorry. Yeah, it's the album before this.
I'm having to look at their discography now.
Yeah.
That was 92, was It's a Shame About Ray?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Seemed to be a bit more prolific around this time. Because you think Blur released
okay, so I'm thinking
3-4 albums by '95.
Yeah, I'm thinking of It's a Shame About Ray, which had the Mrs. Robinson track stuck onto it.
Yes, it did, yeah.
Which was really only a single, wasn't it? Then they did Come On Feel the Lemonheads, which had a picture of Evan Dando more prominently in a photograph on the front
cover, yeah.
And that's the one that had. Yeah. I remember some of these songs. I remember the song "Big Gay Heart." Remember that one?
Yeah.
And all that. But yeah, okay.
He hung around a lot with Oasis when they released Definitely Maybe. I remember he was sort of hanging on there.
Probably taking the same substances that they were, I would imagine.
Lemsip.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Next is a Pearl Jam's Versus album.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've never really got into. I think my issue with Pearl Jam because I'm one of these. I don't know whether it's because my brain just works differently, but I always remember an Oasis interview from around the time they did Nebworth, and Noel Gallagher was asked about Eddie Vedder, and he said Eddie Vedder was moaning about the price of fame, and Noel Gallagher said, if you don't like fame, go work at McDonald's. It's as easy as that. And I can't remember, was it Pearl Jam or was it Sonic Youth who had the video that they were sawing up the guitars?
Oh, I don't know. Was that Pearl Jam? I can't remember.
It was either Pearl Jam or Sonic Youth, and I've always attributed that to Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
So it's like when Top Gear smashed up the Austin Allegro.
Yeah.
I've always had something against them, so I will give it a listen.
It's a good one. It's got quite energy. And I think that second Pearl Jam album, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the one where there's a drummer on that who only played on that album, because I think they changed the drummer again.
Yeah.
The third album, but this guy adds quite a lot of energy to it. I think Pearl Jam fans have a big debate over who was the best drummer for the band, which they never agree on, of course. But I think the Versus album sort of benefits from the guy playing the drums for those songs, and it is it's a good one. I mean, it's quite a serious album because it's Pearl Jam. They weren't exactly known for laughs and humour at that time, particularly. So, but yeah, it's a good one, worth a listen.
Well, the next album is one of your favourite bands.
Yeah.
Produced by Brian Eno, and it's their fifth album. It's James and their Laid album.
Yeah, no, I think that was perhaps the best thing they did, but I don't know their whole discography. But that was the first stuff. That was the first stuff they did that I liked, to be honest.
Yeah. What was the album from around 96, 97? Had She's a Star on it. I enjoyed that.
Maybe that's good. But yeah, I thought this was a good album.
Anyway, next up they've got is Pet Shop Boys, and is it Very?
Is that the orange one?
Yeah, that's the orange one, yeah.
The CD looked like an industrial floor tile.
It does look like an industrial floor, like a massive piece, like those sheets of Lego you get for the grass and then build up on it.
I knew someone who had it at the time, and it did, and you could feel the circular raised bits, like those, like those grippy tiles. It's a bit like those tiles they put near the edge of the pedestrian crossings nowadays.
Yeah. So, next up, all I remember about this album is I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
The Loaf.
The Loaf. It is The Loaf, and Ballad of Hell 2, Back into Hell.
I've never heard the whole album.
I've never heard the whole album.
Did it have Objects in the Rearview Mirror? That was another song that was on there, I think.
Can't remember. I think by the time Anything for Love had finished, because that song went on that long, it was straight on to like the hidden bonus track at the end of it. So it's and next up, Paul Weller's Wildwood.
Yeah, I only know the title track from that.
Yeah, Paul Weller's one of those artists that I like, but I've never really explored. I've got a few of his albums, but I've never really.
I know what you mean. His music is good. I can't deny it. In fact, most of his albums, you could probably get hold of almost any of his solo albums, put it on, and say it was good. But for some reason, I've never dived all the way in with Paul Weller.
No, things like I have got a album he did. I can't remember. I've got a couple of Paul Weller albums, Jam albums. But I say it's another one of those ones where it's always on the periphery. I've used a big word, Phil.
Stanley Road was a great one.
Yes, that was. Yeah, was that from '94?
Yeah, Heavy Soul was good as well.
Which was the one with Peacock Suit and that on? Is that Stanley Road?
I think that's on Stanley Road.
Yeah.
That's got You Do Something to Me on it as well, hasn't it?
You do something to me. I want to know what the something deep inside bit is, because anyway, next up, Nirvana in Utero. Is it Utero? Utero?
Yeah, Utero.
Yeah. Heart-shaped box, etc. on it. The Breeders. Remember the song Cannonball? I'm sure they did that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Last Splash, the album's called. Boo Radley's Giant Steps.
Yeah. Now, is that the one with the sort of weird circular
Ball
pattern
thing.
going round
Yeah.
and round on the front cover?
Weren't they signed to Creation, the Boo Radleys?
They were. Yeah,
They were, weren't they?
Yeah.
Next
That
up,
was.
now
I think that was supposed to be the last one before they went a bit poppy. You know, I think the fans of the Boo Radleys who liked their indie stuff really
Wake
liked
Up, It's a
Giant
Beautiful
Steps,
Morning.
but then after that it was Wake Up, It's a Beautiful
Yeah,
Morning.
yeah,
And, yeah.
all that stuff. Next up, now I thought this album was from '95, but it's the Tuesday Night Music Club by Sheryl Crow.
That was 93. Yeah, okay.
That was '93, yeah. Because I was like, all I want to do is have some fun. I was convinced that was some '94, '95 time.
That's a bit later. I think, yeah. Well, she had a song that was very similar to All I Want to Do a couple of years later, wasn't it? One about Soak Up the Sun or something.
Something like that, yeah.
It was a similar vibe to All I Want to Do. Maybe you're thinking of that.
She was big, wasn't she? Back, not big as in physically big, but she was.
No, she was a massive star, particularly in America. I mean, she was played on the radio loads in America.
Yeah, didn't she date Lance Armstrong?
She did. Yes, she did date Lance Armstrong. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, next up, possibly one of my favourite albums from '93, and it will probably make my top 3. And it is the debut singer by Iceland's famous ex-Sugar Cube and Björk with her debut album, Debut. Another artist it took me a little while to get into, probably didn't. I love Big Time Sensuality. I thought that was a brilliant track. Then went off. Then she did that sort of big bandy stuff. It's so quiet. And that in '95, '96.
Well, you're not so keen on that.
I didn't mind that, but like I said, then Björk, because then I got swallowed up by the Britpop and stuff like that. Never really sort of.
You didn't follow the rest of her career.
Yeah.
I can't say I did follow the rest of her career. I did see Björk. I saw her perform. I saw her when she was an opening act for U2 at Wembley.
Yeah, I do.
That was in '93.
There you go. That would have been this sort of time. Well, obviously this time because this is 1993.
Yeah, it was a new album. Yeah, she was. I think that album came out in the spring of '93. I seem to remember, and then it was sort of August, I think, when I saw the U2 show. So
I just remember things with Björk was it was almost there was all this hype about her because she wasn't British or American, and to have somebody from Iceland coming into the charts
it was unusual. It wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah. It was kind of weird that it was sort of.
I think that
you look back now, and it was almost like an invasion.
I think that went over his head, viewers. It went over his head.
What did you say?
I said it wasn't supposed to happen. That was the hit by the Sugar Cubes.
Yes,
it was. You know that one. Of course you do.
Yes.
There's a great version of that on YouTube, where they perform it on The Word. I think it's on The Word on Channel 4.
They were on The Word, yeah. Was it The White Room? No, it was The Word.
It may have been The White Room or The Word. Anyway,
remember The White Room? That was brilliant.
It was on British TV. I think it was on Channel 4, and it was the Sugar Cubes doing Hit. And it's a really good live. I think they are doing it live. She's certainly singing it live. It's good. Yeah.
No, I just found it weird. When I look back, just the fact that it was almost like she was from. It was like when
she was from Iceland, almost.
Yeah.
And not behind the checkout either.
No. It was almost like when Premier League clubs started signing players who weren't from England, and it was like, wow, this is like a whole new world, uncharted territory. Anyway, this could make you insane in the brain. It's Cypress Hill and their Black Sunday album. I don't know too much about Cypress Hill apart from their couple of tracks.
That's all I know, really.
Yeah. The follow-up to Gish, Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream.
Oh, yeah, that's another one we see.
See, I never really...
It's good. That's a good album as well.
Got into the Pumpkins until Tonight came out. I love that song. And they obviously do a song as well about the greatest year in humanity. 1 second. Wait there. Hold on.
1979.
1
Yeah.
second. We need a halo. Oh no, I can't. But look, the light always shines because 1979. Oh no, I've wrecked my plant. Oh no, Phil, it's all gotten wrong with props. Yeah, so 1979, great track, and I do like the Pumpkins more. Billy Corrigan, another a voice that you kind of have to age into, I think. That prop of a halo didn't work, did it? That
Yeah, I
was
don't know
rubbish.
whether it's well, some people probably never would be able to age into Billy Corgan's voice because he is he's got that kind of tone, hasn't he? But I can handle him. I can
Very
handle him.
nasally.
He's not my favourite, but I can handle him.
No,
But
no. Well, I think I've said it twice but I will say it again for any new viewers. One of my favourite things in The Simpsons was when Billy Corrigan was on it, and he went up
you
to
mean
Homer Simpson.
Corgan? He's not Corrigan.
Did I say Corrigan?
He's a
Who am I
Corgan.
thinking of? It's Billy
I don't
Corgan,
know.
isn't it?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But he goes up to Homer Simpson and he goes, Billy Corgan, smashing pumpkins. And Homer Simpson goes, Homer Simpson, smiling politely.
I'm pretty sure it's
smashing pumpkins.
Billy Corgan. Kim Gordon of Sonic Youth described him as a whiny crybaby in her book.
Yeah, I can see that because he does he does look like a giant baby anyway because obviously he has no hair. So and he's very it's all it there, isn't it? So he needs to get his adenoids done. Next, you've already mentioned it, Zooropa, released the 5th of July 93. And then next after that, they've got Verve, A Storm in Heaven.
Yeah, that was the debut album, wasn't it? And that was produced by the Stone Roses guy, John Leckie.
It was,
well,
yeah.
I don't mean the Stone Roses guy, I mean the guy who produced the Stone Roses first album.
Yeah. And it also had, I think it hasn't got a track in it called Slide Away as well before.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Next up is the Wonders of Welshness, the Manic Street Preachers, Gold Against the Soul, which I got bought for my birthday last year, but I didn't get it until Christmas from my good friend Sheps. I haven't listened to it yet, so I do apologise. Next up is an album that I have mentioned, which I didn't enjoy. Modern Life is Rubbish. It does say here, Britpop began here after the lukewarm critical response to their debut album, Leisure. The band returned with a new sound that embraced classic British music and themes. Hits included For Tomorrow, Chemical World, and Sunday Sunday.
For Tomorrow is the other one. Was that the biggest hit on the album?
I think
it might have been.
Was. Was that the one he wrote when he was hungover and drunk on Christmas Day?
I've no idea.
One thing I will say about that album, I love the cover. The cover's brilliant.
It's good, isn't it? It's the Nigel Gresley logo, the mallard.
Yeah. Next up, possibly one of the worst album covers since Paul McCartney's Flowers in the Dirt, and I think this came out...
The worst album cover of all time, Paul McCartney, Flowers in the Dirt. According to you, I don't think it really is in any way at all. But...
It is. It's one of the worst. I don't think it's the worst because New Order's Republic is a pretty awful album cover.
I'm trying to remember which one that is.
I'll show it you because I've got it here.
Oh, it's that one. Yeah, what was that all about?
It looks like and excuse my language, looks like a shite movie poster.
Like some cheesy Hollywood disaster movie.
They were on honeymoon.
It's just not
and
what
it was about to go wrong.
It's not what you expect from New Order, is it? It's not really in their aesthetic.
It's literally got no thought into it. It's like somebody just went into ye olde Google, because that's what they had then, kids. And they just went into Get It or whatever it is, Getty Images, and just went, oh, those two will do. Something on fire, 2 people happy. Brilliant.
That will do.
Whoever the marketing people were on that, if you got paid more than £3, that's £3 too much. But does include the song Regret. And maybe they regret that album cover, because that's a brilliant track. And that album cover isn't. that album cover is absolutely funking awful. I said funking because everybody loves funking. Anyway, next up, PJ Harvey, Rid of Me. Oh, Polly Jane Harvey, isn't it? I'm sure PJ Harvey's from Bridport in Dorset, where I like to go on holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She still lives down there, I think.
She
I think
does,
she's still connected. Yeah.
Lovely part of the world, Bridport. West Bay. West Bay is where Broadchurch was filmed. Harbour Lights with Nick Berry. And do you know the bit? Rise and Fall of Reginald Perrin, where he takes his clothes off and runs into the sea. That was filmed at West Bay Beach. That was.
Wow.
So there you go.
Have you remade that?
What the? I have. Yeah. Yeah. I took off all my clothes, ran into the sea, and all the people who watched me were ill for the next 3 days. Oh God, Phil's gone.
Why am I not surprised?
Ace, we can talk about anything we like now. Football, because we know Phil hates football, but we're not going to talk about football. We're going to have to talk about albums from 1993 while he's not here. And next up is a David Bowie's album, Black Tie, White Noise. Oh, he's back. Oh, God, everybody be quiet. He's back in the room. Shh.
I'm back. Sorry, I had a complete disappearance there. Have you disappeared?
I decided
not to say anything.
It was Bowie's first album following the Tin Machine experiment. I've never heard it, to be fair, and I struggle with a lot of Bowie stuff after sort of 1984 till around 2000, maybe 99, 2000, was it Heathen or whatever came out? Even though I did like Earthling, his drum and bassy sort of album with Little Wonder, you little wonder, you. That's my Bowie impression. Pretty good, isn't it?
Are you talking about Black Tie, White Noise?
Anyway, next up on this list is another album that I have discussed, and Radio X say that alongside Modern Life is Rubbish, the first seeds of Britpop were sowed here with the release of Brett Anderson and Co's debut. So, rather saucy album cover there. Far better. That's more of a New Order album cover than the New Order album cover was. The only thing they should have done with the New Order album cover was set fire to it. So that's 5 on the list. And to be fair, you could literally go online and look at this list yourselves instead of listening to me bore you with it. But I'm going to go through it anyway, because these are some of the ones we're going to have to listen to. And then you can comment down here after you've liked and subscribed to whether they're your kind of cup of tea or whether you want them in, because there will be viewer releases allowed when it comes to the final countdown. Depeche Mode are next. Basildon's Finest. Never been a massive Depeche Mode fan, but I know a lot of people out there love them. At number 3 is the album I spoke about earlier. Lenny Kravitz's Are You Gonna Go My Way? Then we have the Cranberries. Everybody else is doing it, so why can't we? Well, I don't know. There's nothing I can say to that one, Dolores, apart from just give it a go. Just do what everybody else is doing. Well, don't do what everybody else is doing, because then you're going to sound the same as them, and that would be rubbish. So, anyway, next up is the... Oh, God, he might be back. Right, everybody, be quiet. Is he coming back? I've got him loading on my screen. Anyway, next up is what I class as the sort of Radiohead period between the debut and the bit before they went all a bit weirdy with after Amnesiac, is up to Amnesiac. It's Pablo Honey, and the only song you ever want to listen off of that album is obviously Creep. And I've not heard the rest of the album because all I ever want to hear off it is Creep. So they are some of the albums that we may be listening to. I might listen to. who knows, you might even listen to. And just this is so much better without Phil in it. We can chill out. We can do whatever. I could literally get down into my pants and, it'd be great. Kind of miss him, really. It's kind of depressing without him, isn't it? I've got no one to take the mickey out of. Bully. Literally, I am a bully to him. But don't report me to HR, because we haven't got a HR department. So, anyway, let us know, well, let me know, because I'm the only one here. Let me know which albums you think we should be listening to from 1993. Obviously, I am going to have to revisit Blur's Modern Life is Rubbish. I still think it's not going to be great. Leave your comments down here. Like, subscribe. I don't know how Phil normally closes these ones off, but I think it's normally with, okay, listeners, something amusing about music. Catch you in the next one. And then I do that, and then the video ends. The only trouble is I haven't got the stop button, so I can't end the record until Phil gets here. So you just got to put up with me wittering away. He's just messaged me. Rebooting, you are still being recorded. Well, I should bloody hope so. So we can sit round here and wait for him to come back if you want. Do you want me to recite some poetry? Anything? Maybe? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back into some of these albums. I'm going to look at a different list and see what... here we go. Best albums, 71 records you need to hear. Or hear, if you speak English. Jackson Browne, never heard of him. Van Morrison, Paul Weller, Meatloaf, Queen Latifah, Black... I've never been a massive fan of Queen Latifah. And she's in a remake of The Equalizer, and for that reason I've not watched it. Billy Joel, River of Dreams. That album I did buy. I remember loving the song, the title track, River of Dreams. I have it on CD single and tape. The only Billy Joel record I think I own, or piece of music. Primus, never. Enigma. Didn't they do the Age of Innocence? Something from a Guinness advert. Jodeci, they were awful. Frank Black. Oh, he was the Pixies frontman, wasn't he? I think. Also, the title character to the X-Files guys TV series Millennium. I'm sure he was called Frank Black. Ice Cube, Lethal Injection. Used to really like that album. I didn't really pick up on it until late 90s. My brother was really into hip-hop. And I was like, why are you listening to that for? You want to be listening to Oasis and all this. But secretly, I did listen to it. So, what did I know? Archers of Loaf. Who are they? Icky Metal. The North Carolina rock band's first studio album showcases the best of 90s indie rock. Rugged vocals, heady lyrics. I have to give them a view. US3, never heard of them. Morphine, never heard of them. There's a lot on it. I have to say, I am the uneducated one when it comes to music. 3 chords and a big chorus. That's all you need. Oh, screen's going again. Let's see if he's going to come back. Verve, Sting. Oh, Sting. Flaming Lips. And that's what happened to Phil when he married that goose.
Am I back?
So, what was that, Phil? Oh, hello. No, I can't see you. Oh, he's gone again. Right, let's get back on the goose story. One thing I will tell you. If you are viewers of James Hargreaves or any other YouTubers like them, you all know that they have excellent production quality. Whereas we are literally scraping the barrel. Oh, God, Phil Collins comes into this list. Ooh. 1993 just took a turn for the worst. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with any more stuff. Phil obviously cannot be bothered to connect and come back. I'm not going to bore you too much with... oh, no, here he comes. Here he comes, just a walking down the street. Breeders, Janet Jackson. He's going to try and say something. At least when I did this, I came on my phone. I still gave you guys this face. He's gone. Anyway, until next time, people, keep listening to music. Be cool, be easy, and get better internet than Philster, because his isn't very good. Peace out, dudes.